So we have some more poets, we have some more featured poets, some more student poets, some performance, some spoken word, and so on. And just to get going back, I'll do a quick one. And then we will have Chiamaka come up. My father was a skydiver. Tucked in his old ratty tees that reached our knees, we'd fall asleep to tales of flying. Imagine a light head and heavy straps and engine drone and wind. Wrapped in flannel sheets, we'd shoulder folded nylon, look out at a flat quilt of Texas ranches, angle our wrists like rudders through the severe clear of a blue day toward a bulldoze runway seeded with grass. We dream of gravity, of the pull that startles small shapes into fabric fireworks drifting like jellyfish on down. He swore the nerves left you after 30 tries. The magic, just a mastery of physics, drag, and nylon that he folded, shouldered, and unfurled until the people on the ground called him down to fill our heads with news of the sky. We all watch our fathers fall to earth. They become less tall, no longer know-it-all, 5'10", infallible, thinks I don't call enough. But he's still the man who flew, who bent to smooth sheets, brought reverence to a whisper, said, remember, so much depends on yes. So face the breath of wind, outshout your frantic heart, and leap with arms out wide. Thank you. So guys, there is a short open mic at the end of the event, so if anyone wants to read at that, please come and talk to me up here in the front. And Felicia has some flyers for her show, Lady Master and the Synaptic Room, which is in Smock Alley Theater, the 13th to the 16th. And it's her doing words, and then there's a composer, and there are all these visuals, and it's all extremely exciting. So she has some flyers for that, and you should come out to that. Anne-Marie, who's reading later, has books. Tom, do you have any books? You can talk to Tom about his books. He's still right here. So next up, we have a UCD student poet, Chiamaka Enyi Amadi. Are you ready? Here we go. So clap her to the stage, guys.
I was a UCD student. I graduated this year, and I'm very excited about it. Got my results yesterday, so I'm like buzzing still. Thank you. I have about 3 poems for you guys, and I hope you enjoy. Our hands like rain. This failure of ours, this inability to speak your language, to hear the faint breaths, a medium too weak to carry the strained words to our flutter of ears, to leave your loneliness in the light of the living room. Everything about you is wistful and wishing to be and not to be. We are here with you, wandering from the outside with no clear answers, with no mouths to ask the questions. We are a family that walk through fire and pretends not to smell the smoke clinging to our clothes, our hair, our skin, our hands like rain trying to dampen the flames. And yet, we will not call it by its name. We will not call it by its name. We will not call it by its name. After the fire licked you from head to toe, left you soft and naked, did you come out smelling of smoke? Did you ask to be washed? Did your hands beg for your mother's absolution? Did you look your father in the eye to say, I am suffocating? Love will restore you. Love will heal this human error. This is called Give Birth Again to a New Dream. Dream of a lover that will not threaten to break you, with the silence that recalls violently into itself, away from the slightest impression of trust, away from the bitter truth of unconditional love, with the silence that trails behind you like a blind dog following the smell of excrement. This is a different type of shit. It spreads like mold in your home, smeared all over the walls of your bedroom. Give birth again to when you dream. Dream of a lover that would not threaten to burn down your house while you're on your knees, beginning with your God, keeping his soul safe before you sleep. Dream of a lover that will not leave you in the heat of an inferno that will ravage you alone. Give birth again to when you dream. Dream of a lover with a face that bears no resemblance to my father's. Thank you. The final poem is called Talking Drums, and it is inspired by a quote by Yu Sung Sai. She said, "In societies where men are truly confident of their own worth, women are not merely tolerated, but valued." Hold her in your arms and kiss away the silence, not tears. Her eyes have only held things that are still, steady, concealable. Kiss her and ask about her eyes, why they are a river that has drawn its beds together, shut its waters beneath the earth, and nothing will flow. Ask if she is empty. Ask her who has stolen her harvest. All the things she buried deep, knowing all the ways to make it grow sweet with sweat. Do not be satisfied by a drum that will not speak, by a wall that will not wail, by a woman that will not spill, under the force of will, even for the gods to listen. Hold her and kiss her, and ask if there are things in her heart that can be held full in the hand without the pain of evisceration, and she will tell you, nothing. Thank you.
Next up, we have Pierce Morton. Pierce here? There he is. Another UCD current/former student coming to the stage.
Cheers. Thank you so much. I feel very lucky to be here. What year is this? The year is 7 days after Babel. Arise, even years, before BC. Como stand with us? Donde están? Donde está su talo? Finish us at the timeline. Genesis goes into hell, and it ends and returns just before the killing of land. Mesopotamian, más o menos. Nimrod, macho disintegrates. Oil settles again in aging bones. Por la aña, in Anusborg. Que? Reliqua, symbiosis. Tip of the top of Uriah, under Vesuvius, Womanjenka. Fu donde está your ziggurat? Buried. The year is 7 years before Mars. This one's a manifesto about altruism. Be as cruel as you possibly can, and see how far you can bend before your body pulls you back into sadness or a hopeless optimism. I could do that all day before I even write a single word. And when my body doesn't bend anymore and I realize there is no end to my cruelty, I write a poem about it for everyone else. This is my gift to you. I tell myself that, and I will neglect to write anything else until I feel rotten. You should too. If you're not rotten enough already, spoil yourself and watch the people around you begin to glow. And they'll glow, a hollow sort of glow that you can squint right through. And whilst you're doing this, do not forget to squint at yourself in the mirror. No need to squint, perhaps. I've stopped squinting myself. I just look right into the detail of the softening brown in my left eye's iris. And I tell myself to stop it, cut it out. You can slap yourself if you feel compelled, but this does not help. After the slap, you might be back at square one and ready to indulge in some positive introspection. If you're wondering, is all this worth it, then this is not the manifesto for you. There are other ways to achieve altruism, but I've never heard of them. Really debase yourself for just a moment, using words or any other tools you have. It is important not to write these words down for others. Do not feel these words apply to others. They only apply to you. Now my cruelty is exploding beyond the page, but this too is my attempt at being selfless. Find out what you hate. Familiarize yourself with it. Do not put this into a poem. Repeat the full force of your hatred in your head until you lose your voice. Your hate will become you. Take a break from all this hatred, go for a walk, squint through the glow of others, if you have to. But if you remember to smile, you won't need to squint anymore. By this time, you still have not written a word, though hopefully you can feel something buzzing in your head. Perhaps you can smell the burning of an electrical device, like an overheated amplifier. If not, don't worry, everything is different, everyone is different, nothing is universal. Sleep deprivation often helps to achieve this stage, but I do not wish that upon anybody. I do not wish any of this upon anybody. As soon as I begin to think in this way, it's obvious I've become too far. It may take over 200 years to attain this state, and you may be gone by then, but try not to forget that your history lives, and there will always be something you can draw from that length of time. Use your history until it nears abuse. If there is something you find beautiful within yourself that no longer belongs to you, that belongs to your poem. I've forgotten the next passage, but you may be able to begin by this point. You have no purpose. Your poem is more than you are. If your poem means nothing, then you mean more than your poem. If your value is nothing, your poem will mean everything. Please do not inflict this upon others like I have done to you. Thank you.
Is Ian here? Ian Davidson. Yes. Okay, next up we have Professor of Creative Writing at UCD, Ian Davidson, to read a bit for us.
Okay, first poem I'm going to read is called LSD. It's from the collection On the Way to Work, and it's, I don't need to remind you that LSD was pre-decimal currency for pounds, shillings and pence. The On the Way to Work sequence I wrote because I hate work, actually, and I thought that in order to do something useful every day, I should try and write a poem on the way to work every day in my head. So this is one of those. It's called LSD. Beyond the bus shelter and on the way to work, I was feeling finite from the truths that make me, as the river ran or the money kept flowing. I was on my way to work when this void opened up, see? And I looked into it, and then it was all around me. So I called out to it, "Hey, void, what can we do about it?" "Well, you call me void," it said, "and that's something." On the way to work, I wanted LSD and the experience of really seeing myself as I truly am. On the way to work, I admired my reflection. On the way to work, the urge for LSD is almost unbearable, like a fat cigarette on a swollen lip. I shrug myself into an overall thick with oil, feeling the cold concrete and devil far below, urging me down to where the silver falls like dust. The second poem I'm going to read is called No Way Back. It's a breakup poem, and it was written after a walk with the English poet Lee Harwood, and it's not about breaking up with Lee. It's called No Way Back. Sun shifts position, wind from another quarter, blockages, the movement of water, concentration, poor or off-center, heart turned over, love and sex, the worn rock, undercut, awash from the west. There is no second chance, only the rearrangement of the senses. The pull of the heart sings discordant across the generations of the things that move us most: bone, muscle, blood. The desire for the perception of beauty, the desire for the attainment of beauty. There is no second wind. Air moving past, or the blow to the head and catch as catch can. A few words clutch beyond the point of no return. He turns and disappears as a figure of speech, points to the horizon. Look at that. I compose myself, a series of crotchets, minims, things I could well do without. Membership expired in the aspiration to fulfill the task of a better world. I arrange organs of speech, clear my throat, begin to say something. The sea drags shingle over and over, the stone in heaps of stone, more smooth granite pebbles, more marble. And what can politics tell me of the soft landscape of the body, or the hard wiring of sex? And what can landscape tell me of the soft politics of the body, of the first fix, the performed operation, as the memory of a warm body etched in the soft tissue as it drips word by word, as it tears itself sentence by sentence, as it storms image through dirty image, and the arguments go on in a parody of logic as if the answer is buried in the disorganization, as if once the bits and pieces of the past are finally slotted into place, or maybe the unexamined life is the better option, or the air from an open window. And what can intelligence tell me I don't already know, as if the tips of the fingers or the mobile lips could lie, and in confidence, here's the lines from around my eyes, from staring at the setting sun, from a westerly coast, where the rocks in layers lower themselves into the sea, and the guillemots come, and the choughs flash their legs, or the puffins. And I'm still scared to go up high into the lighthouse, still and scared to look back. And I'll do a couple of sections from Into Thick Hair, which is published by the very wonderful Randolph Ely of Dublin. So it was published by Wild Honey Press, and hand sewn. I love the. So it's one of my favourite productions of my work. My favourite pamphlets. The poem. The only thing I say, it's written in 7-syllable lines, and I always read it quite quickly. Your thick hair extended, your thin snakeskin trousers, or your little pillbox, still pills, forgotten, taken overseas, little children, cats, little kittens. Your thin arms, legs, their arms thin, your legs walking, embracing arms, humility, brown eyes, dark hair, humbled, embracing, insecurity, jealousy. My lower orders, your upper set, cavities. Some things are important enough to be worth saying, like uppers and on them. The little cats, all ears, listening, have gone to bed and lying. Some things are not worth saying, under the covers embracing, and moments outside, and moments. Your knitted mohair jumper, your green mohair, red mohair, scarlet nylon leggings, high heels, fighting to the death, down at heels, snapped, unattached, undone, to the death. Your slashed lipstick, future face, feet drumming, wind screen, all torn canvas sunroof, sliding against the traffic across a junction, should have stopped there where the sign said halt. Your grey snakeskin shoes, animal print and design on the surface of her skin, small hands and feet, thin veins deep below the skin, your brown woolen coat, uneven walk, your asymmetrical stride, the kitten just letting go and all ears, the baby under the TV, the volume turned up, smoke-filled rooms and talking, and all those years ago, talking and drinking and not talking, never thought or not thinking. Your Greek holiday, your first Greek holiday via Berlin, maybe Spain or bulb packing money, never got to the top of the list of things to do, topless in Greece, pointing out fat and ingrown hair, naked on a Greek beach, mailer for material, a few lines of poetry, a small sketch, and drinking and talking and not thinking too much. Your Spanish holiday, the boys under tow, that Greek holiday and the water in the tank above, our heads and drinking wine and not talking properly. The babies came in ones apart by years, the grunt work came in spades and years apart, and all that work and loving you, trying to get it right, the house right, food right, conversation, your head in a book, you only half listening, you drunk and not listening at all, you talking and me not listening. This is the story of a holiday in Greece via Berlin, Munich, the driver, passenger, The Train. Thank you.
So we're nearing the end, guys. We have 2 more spectacular treats for you. Next up, we have former All-Ireland Poetry Slam champion and the new poet in residence for the Bohemians Football Club, Phibsborough, John Cummins.
I'm going to try to take this out. Yes. I'm going to annoy that cameraman, I'd say. Make him do his shifting. I just saw these lovely young peoples pop in. So this poem is for you. The back row. I was there the day Humpty Dumpty fell. It was a day like today. I remember it really well. We were on our way to visit their good friend Goldilocks. It was her birthday. Humpty had knitted her gorgeous porridge socks. When we met Mary, who had a little cow whose fleece was white as blue, and Mary told us Goldilocks' real age was 122. Now, we didn't believe her, so we legged her over to the Elwyn who lived in the shoe, and Humpty Dumpty asked her out straight, "Is Goldilocks older than you?" "Who told you that?" says she. "Was it Mary with a little blue cow? I have no time for nonsense. Plus Britain's Got Talent is on now. I've 46 mouths to feed and only the 1 plastic plate. Don't mind Mary, she's a messer. You best go or you'll be late." And she was right, so she was. We had no time for that mad chatter. And just in that moment along came all scurried and worried or other buddy the mad hatter. "It's Goldilocks' birthday party, can't believe the time." "Chillax," said Humpty Dumpty. "I've a magic carpet in me pocket. We'll be fine." So close your eyes and picture it. Humpty, Hatter and I, on our way to Goldilocks' birthday party, and we're sailing across the sky. Not quite twinkle, twinkle height, more the tops of the tree high, and Humpty's talking the socks again, reckons they'll be just about the knee high when, oh no. Oh my, Humpty Dumpty slipped on a piece of Tom Thum's leftover pie. He disappeared over the edge, tumbling like Jill and Jack did. Yes, boys and girls, and ladies and gents, Humpty Dumpty fell off a magic carpet. True story, I was there, I should know it. This isn't the jibber jabber of a silly billy bearded poet, and if you don't believe me, ask the mirror on the wall. "Mirror, mirror, from where exactly did Humpty Dumpty fall?" She will reply, she can't utter a word of a lie. She'll tell you Humpty Dumpty fell from the sky. But no drama, no need to be full of the cry. Humpty landed in a lovely lullaby. "Boy, boy, black sheep, have you any wool?" "Yes, sir, yes, sir." That's for you, shakalak. Thank you. Sure, where would you get it? There's a wall over there, and you can write your poems in a little rhyme and draw a picture maybe and slap it on the wall. It'd be deadly. You can do that. It's a festival. It's what people do at festivals. I've got me ur in my gum. Have you got your ur to gut? I've got urhus and shave yous deepest jock och but barely be my natter'll bounce. This tongue is more comfy with the Queen's pronounce. You thaw in the future, bay or beg. Do you hang out your gansy with an original copy of the peg? I'm a cute kitoga, righteous southpaw. I funlock all fin yog, nor a duskel me my mouth jaw. Or call me an ambulance, bell me a bee-baw. If I say rula-boola, you say ree-raw. Rula-boola. 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 I've been thinking a lot about borders lately. The real ones. The ones we feel ones. I've been considerably contemplating the borders of the heart and the borders of the mind and the landlorders with their physical kind. Eccentrics, fantastical fixtures designed to sustain inequality and keep us confined. But music knows no border. One cannot contain or control culture. Poetry knows no barrier. Art is the weapon of the warrior. Art is the weapon of the warrior. Never before have we been so connected and still so utterly distant. No exception, we're all affected. That system is omnipresent and it's brilliant with the divide and the conquer. Witness the border between the gender. Oh, mad, damn, I surrender. Find I'm at fault for your rear ender. So I'm blaming the North Carolinians, those in support of the gun licence, the economy for the economic migrants, but I'm not deluded, I'm also included, my passive silence. I'm blaming the North Koreans, every single one of them Europeans, my parents for not explaining what it all means, and I should have sourced more locally grown greens. John F. and feckin' Kennedy is the culprit for not dodging the bullet. The Germans for bequeathing us that mullet. Beethoven was far too dull, so I'm blaming this quatrain, the very next couplet. It's all your due. It's down to you, Wisconsin and Texas, for this punching Judge Judy Trump thumping the solar plexus, the pollsters, the experts, those who fed us certain excerpts and never gave us balanced views in the news. I'm blaming the likes of Mr. Tom Cruise. I'm blaming Fair City, Strictly, Curry, to accuse authority. I'm sorry, it's my bad. I never asked the boss man what he put in my hippie flask. See, he's not my president. Michael D is. He doesn't represent what being free is. Yet as both men, apparently, that's what we is. For the record, though, I'm not what he is, not to be retweeted. In plain speak, he's a pattern, a puppet, a program, repeated. And granted, it's well rehearsed, but we can obsolete it. We need to starve the beast, not openly feckin' feed it. So let's hack away back to the old past truths. Let's ditch the futuristic post-truths. Let's return to what makes us human and celebrate what it is we have in common. There really is enough intel for us all to be smart. Plenty of wisdom for us all to impart. There really is ample food for us all to eat. Greed is what we need to defeat. Beep, beep, beep in their horn. In the Leo Varadkar Kardashian early morn. The Gardaí at the homeless on Henry. I'm angry. Disgusted. I thought that the police busted criminals and gangsters. Go on and harass them bankers, not the vulners, the vultures, the heartless, the faceless. Meanwhile, daily we face this epidemic in our republic. Something needs done doing and done quick, for never in our history have we had homelessness like this. When does an emergency become a crisis? For lately, all I seems to see is lots of ladies and gentrified peoples making biddings for the dwellings and the roofings of former church steeples, and I'm spying loads of lads and loads of lasses, traditional working classes, being turfed out on their asses. Oh my, what a state of chassis. Check out the Dublin 70 Heavenly O'Devanly flats clinging to the hem of the skirt of the stony bats. Proper prime land for those top dog property cats hitting their targets with air stolen gats. The bang on the ear kicked out to the curb. I have a contract here and blocks to refurb. Shifted. I've been granted planning permission for that space. Just quoting the omnipotent road and rigging up the rat race, fixing it so the middle ground is squeezed. Miss a few payments and the family gaff gets seized. Then you're homeless in a hotel, you're kipping in a car. I know the signs so well, 'tis gentrified we are. This is called kindness, not the form of weakness. Witness the fitness all together in this. There is no league to be out of, no line to be north nor south of, no land you can't feel at home in. This is not a world to be alone in. And there's no shape you don't naturally throw, no ego you won't naturally outgrow, no height to float up to or depth to sink into. Spirit is embodied in your thinks in. You are not a maybe, you're a definite. Are you listening? You're not a deficit. You're the plus sign and the minus sum. You equalise equilibrium. You're the last link in the chain of events. You're the reality and all the pretense, and none win attack, none win defence. We the symmetry in every sequence. Allow kindness kick in. Have a bit of crust to give. Core to share, wear bare and trust the positive. Allow kindness kick in. Hold the door open. Gentle be that gesture when you're philanthroping. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So you've been a lovely audience and very patient, and it's been wonderful to have UCD host us here. So we have one final person who is a UCD creative writing alum. He's just published the last book in his trilogy, Knights of the Borrowed Dark, which is unreal. And he has lots of other TV and other projects going on, and some of them he can't really talk about yet, which means that they're probably a pretty big deal. So please, at the last poet of the day, or the last writer of the day, Mr. Dave Redden.
Hello. Yes, so I write for young people. I don't know what you guys have in your head. When you think of an author for young people, you're probably imagining somebody like venerable and tweed-skinned and dignified, but instead you're getting someone who looks like Conor McGregor let himself go. So I've got a funny thing and a scary thing to share with you guys. It's like a little bit spooky, but like, are you guys tough? I can't hear you. You guys tough? Cool, that is a legally binding contract. You can't get mad. So this is a short scene from my first novel, Knights of the Borrowed Dark. Thank you. The woman in white was eating light bulbs. Simon couldn't take his eyes off her. It was horrible. She'd found a cupboard on the third floor corridor about 6 meters from the closet in which Simon was hiding and had begun rifling through its contents. Linens were experimentally sniffed and then idly tossed aside, forming lonely snowdrifts on the floor. A first aid kit had been emptied out as well, its contents separated with a toe and then methodically stamped apart. Now she was opening boxes of light bulbs, shaking their contents out into her palm and holding them up to her face before closing her teeth around their fragile domes. Crunch. It had taken Simon a moment to realize she wasn't looking for anything in the cupboard. She was just destroying whatever was in there. Why? He didn't know. There was no urgency to her movements, and a strange look of amusement creased her face. Unfortunately, that meant there was no indication as to how long she was going to stay there, blocking the corridor and Simon's only means of escape. It was pure luck she hadn't caught him. A sudden, unexplainable feeling of dread had made him hide in the broom closet, cracking the door open a hair just in time to see her appear at the top of the stairs. Maybe he had heard her without even realizing it. Maybe he'd felt her presence or the air her movements displaced. Maybe the animal part of his brain was taking over, all of that prehistoric instinct and awareness you just didn't use in the modern world. Simon didn't know or care. All that mattered was that he hadn't been caught. Suddenly, the woman's head jerked to one side as if she smelled his relief. She spat a dry clot of glass out onto the floor and closed the cupboard door slowly, listening hard for something. Simon froze, taking his hand off the door so it settled back against the frame, hiding her from view. His heart pounded louder and louder. Stop, she'll hear it. And the floor creaked as she took a step towards him. Don't panic. With the door closed, the woman in white was more of a collection of sounds than a physical presence. Sounds that Simon had to put together in his head to figure out where she was, a process that was doing nothing for his heart rate. Periodic creaks, her steps, she doesn't care about being quiet, why would she? Followed by a drawling, rasping hiss, her breathing roughened by glass. And then a series of mechanical pops that Simon realized in horror were her fingers, clenching and unclenching. Had he not seen her with his own two eyes, he wouldn't have believed there was a person out there at all. Just a machine, gaunt and terrible, bearing down upon him. But more terrifying than that was the silence. Silence meant he had no idea where the woman was. Do you want to close your eyes for a second? Humor me. Creak. Silence. Creak. Silence. Simon closed his eyes, then opened them and cursed the sound of both. Everything had become magnified. His heartbeat was thunder, his breathing a storm. The moment stretched imaginally, and Simon became convinced he could hear the zzz of his nervous system, the shh of his sweating skin, and finally, beneath it all, the tick of the future becoming the present, 1 second at a time. Silence. The door handle began to turn. Simon felt his stomach contract. The thought of being that close to the woman's hand. Somehow, magically, he didn't scream. Most children would have screamed by now. He was sure of it. Creak. Maybe just a little scream. It couldn't hurt. Thank you. The reason that I do the throat noise thing is because my books are sort of for 11 to 14-year-olds, but you can't control who shows up to a public thing. And this one brought along her 4-year-old, and I was like, oh no, you're too, maybe. And the one's like, no, he'll be fine. And I did the throat noise, and as soon as I did it, the kid went, Jesus! And I was like, amazing. I'm going to end with like a very, very short and like funny story, a real story. I find it amazing when I meet people who think that they couldn't write a book or tell a story, because every single person is completely different. Every single person has a different background and family and friends and has different lives and careers. Like, each of you is an entirely unique moment in space and time. There's never been anyone like you in the history of the world, and there never will be again, and yet some people still think they're boring. I can't believe that. And so I'm going to share a story that completely happened about a friend of mine, Cormac, who thinks he's really boring. He doesn't know I tell people this story, so now I'll tell him. Cormac's real tall, and he's real shy, and he looks a bit like an Easter Island statue. And I've been trying to get him to write a book for years, because I think he's had a really mad life. But Cormac is he's just real used to being Cormac. So I'm going to let you guys be the judge. You guys are my panel of experts. When Cormac was 4, he went to Disneyland with his parents, and he went on the Star Wars ride. Any Star Wars fans here? My people. At the end of the Star Wars ride, these 2 doors hiss open, all this smoke billows out, and out walks Darth Vader. Now, even if you're not a fan of Star Wars, you are probably familiar with Darth Vader. Black cloak, black helmet. Bad guy, or has really bad asthma, one or the other. I have really bad asthma, so I'd make that joke. Now, very important fact about Darth Vader, not a real person. Fictional character. Cormac is 4. And when he sees the Dark Lord of the Sith and Supreme Commander of all Imperial armies come towards his family, it's completely true, he turns to his parents and he goes, "Run! Save yourselves!" And he charges Darth Vader, weeping. Now, Cormac is quite a tall child. So when he headbutts Darth Vader in the crotch, Darth Vader goes down. And Cormac, who has split open his forehead on Darth Vader's codpiece and is now wearing his very own fetching mask of blood, but is not a man to leave a job unfinished, just starts stamping on his neck, screaming at his parents, "Why aren't you running?" Thank you. Oh, bye.
Knights of the Bar Dark guys, they're real good. Do we have anybody interested in the open mic and reading a piece for the open mic? Yep, here we go. All right, you're up next. We'll have a couple of open mics, and then there's sandwiches over there. Okay. This one short piece.
Hello. My name is Tracy Young. I've never really shared much of my poems, so bear with me. I got one up there. I actually got several that kind of matches the theme that we talked about. I don't know if I can read more than just one. Okay. Which one would be good? Okay, I think I'll go with this one. So this one I wrote in Bray by the sea, and it's just how writing is. It just went to a different direction at the end. So it talks about my dad. I didn't have much relationship with him that much, but anyway, just short story is in recent years I went to a theme park with him alone. It was awkward as an adult, so it kind of went in that direction. So it's called Powder Sugar Snow. Merry-go-round, ice cream, seaside view, kids running around and don't mind the view. Summer in the horizon with scorcher preview. Caterpillar ride, powder sugar sprinkling around. Multicolored candy slush pairing with a contrast hue. Sunshine peeking on and off. Insects finally taking off. Who's the fairest of them all? Dinosaur balloons, birthday party hats, fluffy unicorn parade it's where a child's mind is at. Superhero dad teaching you to reach the sky, multicolor swim pool floats, noodle fighting, yet grabbing teacher to keep you afloat. Song humming, dad's whistling, ocean park view, cable car, screaming vivid color all around, mascot smiling picture in the bag, magic sprinkles, melting snow, innocent laughters are a pass, but daddy's princess reign will last. Thank you.
Who's next? Who would? You want to come next? Thanks.
Hi everybody, my name is Sven. I'm from Germany, but I actually studied at UCD quite a while ago, and yesterday I handed in my final thesis. I'm gonna read one of my poems written in English, which is a response to Francis Harvey's poem Gates, for anyone who knows him. It's called Gaps. Gated communities in Dublin, but up in Donegal they don't like gates. All they are good for is to lean on, to take a rest, and for a wild stare at gaps and clouds up between hills, between layered stone walls and, at a closer look, blades of long grass. Gaps where space is open before you, where birds and men and sheep pass through at any given time, sometimes for the first time, sometimes for the last time, and for the gates of heaven, when only bleached bones are left on the summits or in the water on the rocks in Donegal. Thank you.
We have a couple more slots for open mic if anybody is interested. Anyone? Yeah, okay.
Hi, thanks to everybody who's read today. I've really enjoyed your work. I graduated last year with an MA in creative writing from here. And last year I almost fell up the stairs, so I didn't do that today, so that's a success. I'm going to read you a poem that I have on the wall over here. And it's a response to sailing to Byzantium. It was written pre the 26th of May, I'll say. Sailing past the Isle of Man to the UK. This is no country for old women, or middle-aged women, or young ones held down with the weight of a womb, where men run free in the fields and on the fairways, flitter around the fairgrounds, stretch their calves beneath boardroom tables, monuments of an aging intellect. An aged woman is but a paltry thing, as are women of all ages, those trusted pallbearers of the casket of the womb, presumed whole in birth, marriage, death of she, becomes we, because of he, Mr. and Mrs. enter his name, in the holy sea of matrimony. O sages, standing in God's holy fire, men of cloth, men of worth, demigods of democracy, forebears of finance, carriers of the ink that writes the laws and condemns his mother, sister, lover, daughter, to fill up vessels and set sail for a kingdom united in their faith in female bodily autonomy. Oh, the artifice of paddy patriarchy. Thank you.
We have space for one more open mic. Anyone interested? Any takers? Any takers? Okay, so I'd like to read through all of the people who've read tonight, if we could give them a quick round of applause. And thank you all so much, and do remember the sandwiches that are over in the room over there and the biscuits in the corner. So we started out with Enda Riley, guitar player, if we can just start applauding. Then Phyllis Speaks, Amy Gaffney, Jamie Stedman, Tom McCarthy, Chiamaka Anyamati, Pierce Morton, Ian Davidson, Anne-Marie Nikurin, John Cummins, and Dave Redden. And I'm Erin Fornoff. So thank you so much to Ursula, Lucy, and the team, and have a great rest of the festival.